Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Angela and thank you so much for joining me. If you're new to my channel, you're welcome. Consider subscribing and don't forget to turn on the bell icon so that you get to know anytime I post new videos. So today I'm going to show us another sewing pattern alteration, and we are going to focus on the 3 different sleeve sewing technique. So if you're interested, let's get started. Alright, the first sleeve that we're going to be drafting now is the ribbon sleeve. So there are over 4 types of ribbon sleeve that we have. So I'll be showing us 2 types of ribbon sleeve in today's video, and maybe in the future I'll show you the rest of them. So like I said, we're going to be starting with the first pattern, which is the ribbon sleeve, and then you're going to need your basic sleeve pattern, which is what I have here. So if you don't know how to draft a basic sleeve pattern, I'll be dropping the link in the description box so you can check how to draft a fitted basic sleeve pattern. So now I have my pattern. The first thing I'm going to do is to, now this is the center line. Okay, this is the center line. All right, so the first thing I will do now is to mark 1 inch downward from this center line. So I'm going to mark, and you know I'm using a year-old sleeve pattern for this. So if you want to make this for, say, older kids, say from 4 years up, you can use 1.75 or 1 1/4, depending on the age that you want to make this for. So now after doing that, I am going to connect this from this line. I'll just connect it straight to meet up here, and from this other line I'll also connect it straight to meet up to that point. So this is the first thing to do. When you watch the video on how to draft the fitted sleeve pattern, you get to see how I got all these lines. Then I'll do the same on this other side. I'll connect. Now this part, now I'll be cutting it off. Okay, at the end of the day, this side is going to be open, like a kind of cold shoulder. It's going to open. You will not need that. All you need to do is to note this point on the bodice so that you know where to attach it after sewing it. So after doing that, I'll come to this line here. This is the this line. I'll just go up again by 1/2 inch. Okay, so this is 1/2 inch. I'll connect it straight. Now you can see that it tallies with this point here, so just connect it straight to meet up to those 2 points there. Now this is what I have. Okay, then I'll come over again to this line that we connected here and mark 1/2 inch. All these lines we're going to slash them open. Okay, so I'll just mark 1/2 inch, and I'll also mark another 1/2 inch. Okay, now I will repeat the same on this other side. So this is 1/2 inch and this is 1/2 inch. Okay, then I'm going to connect them now to this point. This is the center point. So I'll just connect it and take the second one again to that center point as well. Okay, and then I'll repeat the same on this other side. Okay, so this particular ribbon sleeve, I prefer using this one because it's always beautiful. It makes the work to stand out very nice, and it fits for kids. So just make sure to give it a try. Now this is what I have. So like I said earlier, I'll be cutting these parts off. You can see the pattern is ready. All I need to do now is to cut all these lines that I just marked now open, and then spread it out so I can use my gather stitch now to stitch it on the center line. But don't worry, I will take this one at a time so you understand how to do this easily. So I will just cut this off like I just explained. Alright, so this is the shape I have here. This part is going to remain open, and then I will now slash through this center line. Okay, and then I am going to slash all these lines open, but I will not be slashing them all through. You can see I am leaving like 1/4 inch there. So just follow the same way and do all these other ones. Then after doing this, now I'll spread it out on another pattern, so we can, I'll just spread it out like this so we can have what we're going to use now to gather this part. So I'll just repeat the same on this other side as well. after which I will now place on my fabric and cut. Alright, after cutting that out, this is the shape that I have. You can see it's very easy. All you need is just to open it up, just spread it out the way you want. You can see I use 1/2 inch distance from each of the slashes that I did. It's just 1/2 inch, and then I open it up. So this is what you have at the end of the day. Okay, so now all I did was just to cut the same on my satin, and then you're going to gather on this center line. You can see I've done that already. You're going to, this is the back, you can see it's still plain, so you just gather this center and on this hem line. Okay, then we are going to pull this side now until we have the initial pattern before we slash them open. Okay, so this is the pattern. I'll just gather it until it will match with what I have on my pattern. That is for this hem line, so just a little gather. Okay, and this is what I have, so you can see that it matches very well. Now this side we're also going to, we'll just pull it a little. So this side you can use your button or your bead or whatever trimming you want to use, just to close up the stitching line so that your thread will not be visible. But for the lining, you're going to use the initial pattern to cut out the lining. Okay, so this is what I have. All I'm going to do now is to join it on this hemline together, and then turn it to the other side and make sure that everything aligned with what I have on my lining. So for the satin, you can, before doing this, make sure if you want to use satin to make this sleeve, make sure to use your hair stay to place on the satin so that the sleeve will have a little weight. So I'm just using this just for illustration. So I'll just go ahead and stitch it here now, and then turn it inside out. Then I will show us the second sleeve design. So this is the sleeve, as you can see, after stitching it all up. So here you just place it on the bodice where it's supposed to be, and then you have the ribbon sleeve ready. It is as easy and simple as that. So I'm going to show us the second sleeve design now, and it's a balloon sleeve. So for balloon sleeve, there are over 5 types of balloon sleeve, but I'll be showing us one today, and maybe in the future I'm going to show you the rest as well. So here I have my pattern. So the first thing I'm going to do is to get the midpoint of these 2 lines, and then the same thing goes to this other side. So now this is the line. Now this is the 2 points, and this is 2 inches. So the midpoint, of course, is here. Okay, and then same thing goes to this other side. Just to get the midpoint, it is here. Okay, so now since the midpoint is here, I'll just, this is the center, so I'll just use like a curve and connect to meet up to that point. Then I'll repeat the same on this other side as well. Okay, now this is what I have, I'm going to cut this out. So only this one now is the one I'll be slashing, and then spread it out very well, because I'll be using my gather stitch on both this end and this other side as well. Okay, so this is how I'll cut. And then I'll keep this aside, but this I'm going to slash it as tiny as I can, so that by the time I spread it out, it's going to give me enough space or enough room to gather it. But when you're slashing it tiny, make sure you don't mix it up so that you don't make any mistake. So I'll just quickly finish with this and then spread it out on another pattern paper and trace it. You can see that this one is very easy, and then place on my fabric and cut, after which I will now gather it like I just explained now and join it back to this space here. Alright, after sewing it, this is it. I use my gather stitch to run it round, both the upside and the downside. So at this point, I'll just go ahead and pull it now to make sure that it will match up with the initial pattern that I used before slashing this open. So I'll just gather it and then join it. You can see this one is very easy. You can actually make this in 5 minutes. So I'll just pull and do the same on this other side, then join it together with the sleeve, and then you attach your lining to it. So let me just quickly pull this and then join it and show you how it looks. So after joining that, this is what I have. You can see I have it very small, and this is exactly how I want it because this is for a year old. Okay, so another way you can do this, if you want this part to be a little bigger, all you need to do is to mark this on your pattern. For instance, this is my pattern now. From this line that we have here, that is the calf's height line, you just come down by 1 inch. Okay, and then you now connect from this one. Instead of getting the midpoint, just take it from this first one and connect. By the time you follow this way, you have the gather part very bold. Okay, you can use this if you're making for, maybe you don't want this to be smaller, you can use this method. All right, so the last one is also a ribbon sleeve. So that one is very easy. I'll just take my I'm going to use another paper to illustrate that. All right, like I was saying, this is my pattern. I just trace this out on this one, and you can see that I have space on this other side. So this space is for the belt, because this one is going to have a belt. So I left like 8 inches as what we're going to be using as the belt to tie this. So like I said earlier, it is very easy, and this is another form of a ribbon sleeve. So this is the center point. Now from this center point now on this hemline, I'll just, you can decide how many inch you want the belt to be. So I want it very small because this is for a year old. So I'll just mark 1 inch. Okay, here I'll just mark 1 inch, and I'll also do the same on this other side because the belt is going to be on both sides, so we can tie it the way we want it to be. All right, so after doing that, I'll now bring this, you decide the height of your belt. Like I said earlier, I am using 8 inches. You can make it even smaller or bigger depending on what you prefer. So after doing that, I'll now bring this center line down to that length. Okay, now this is what I have. Then I'll also mark the 1 inch. We are forming the belt now, so this is the 1 inch, which is what I want to use as the belt. I'm going to mark it there and also repeat the same on this other side and then connect. Okay, so I'll just connect it straight, and I'll repeat the same on this other side as well. Okay, so on this side you can decide to curve it a bit or you leave it as it is. You know how we curve the edge of the belt? You can decide to just, you know, curve it anyhow you want it to be, this way or this other way, but I'm going to leave it. So this is it. I'll just go ahead now and cut. To this center, we're going to slash it open all to this shoulder line, as you can see, and then this is how I'll be cutting this side now. And you have your sleeve ready. Okay, the only thing now is that if you want to, for the lining, you're going to use the same fabric as your lining, because if you use another or like a cotton lining, it's going to be showing and it will not look nice. So it's better you use the same fabric that you're using as the lining, so that by the time you tie this belt part, it will look clean. Okay, so this is what we have. Okay, and then on this shoulder line, it's going to be, we're going to cut it all the way through, but when you want to sew, you can now put it together this way. When you want to sew, you can just put it together. When you get to this point, you just join it together, but this is what you have. All right, so like I said earlier, you just cut out, use the same fabric and cut out your lining. All right, so that is how to make 3 different unique sleeve. All right, and I believe you were able to grab 1 or 2 things from today's tutorial, and you will no longer have problem with using different sleeves on your dresses. All right, so that is it for today. Please subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you all in my next video.